Okay, good evening. My name's Sara. I'm a postgraduate researcher at Duncan of Jordanstone. I'm currently in the final write-up phase of my PhD thesis, so I'm going to talk to you about some of my PhD research, which looks at the endemic social issue of loneliness and considers how or electronic textiles might support older people in feeling more socially connected. I've conducted several participatory workshops across the course of my PhD, which have culminated in the design of two core sets of prototypes. I'm going to talk you through sort of the journey towards the design of those tonight and talk about what an e-textile actually is for those of you who might not be super familiar with the concept. I'm also going to share some of my findings about their application in the context of social connectedness. Broadly, my research asks, e-textiles, can they be catalysts for connectedness? So what does it mean to be socially connected? Well, social connectedness is the experience of feeling close and connected with others. It's recognised as a fundamental human need, could be a right as well, that supports good health and well-being and concerns the interpersonal and social relationships that we form and maintain with others that enable us in feeling loved, cared for and valued. But maintaining these vital social connections can be challenging, particularly in the face of age-related and life-changing transitions such as retirement, ill health, reduced mobility and bereavement. Older people can be particularly vulnerable to the social disconnection or loneliness and isolation, and so I'm just going to paint a bit more of a picture for you with some stats. So 50% of UK adults aged 85 years and over feel lonely almost all or all of the time. 17% have contact with their families less than once per week. And 67% name television as their primary source of company. So these are worrying statistics, and design research has the opportunity to investigate and ideate new possible solutions that address loneliness, both for people today and for our continued ageing population. And that's the space within which this research sits. So, my background is in textile design, and within this research, textiles being ubiquitous across cultures and a stable part of our everyday lives are positioned as possible catalysts for social interaction, activity and connectedness. They're tangible objects that can set the scene for interactions between people, trigger an encounter and tell a story. Textiles are tangible, they're sensory, tactile, they serve practical and physical roles within our everyday lives, as well as supporting us socially and in terms of our mental well-being as a sensory medium for interaction and therapeutic activity. They're social objects. Historically and still today, textiles have a social role. Shared making, skills development, collaboration, all establish textiles as a medium that we can talk about and over. Textiles capture, hold and tell stories. They're communicators in their touch, their aesthetic, their smell, their construction. We can all make associations with certain fabrics and textiles that have personal resonance or meaning. And so this research looks at how we can draw upon and extend the role of textiles as tangible objects for interaction, conversation and connection by incorporating electronics. By augmenting traditional textiles with electronics such as conductive thread, fabric and sewable lights or speakers, for example, we can create objects as new opportunities for social connection and interaction. E-textiles as soft interactive objects can act as social switches or sensors that emit heat, pressure or sound, for example. And in this way they can emulate the vital physical, verbal and non-verbal interactions that are important exchanges in developing social and emotional connections. Whilst these innovations will never replace the physicality of person-to-person interaction, e-textiles do and possibly have the capacity to support, comfort and encourage people who are experiencing loneliness. E-textiles can be odd, intriguing and enchanting. They can capture our attention and question the roles an everyday material can play within our everyday lives. And that's what participants within this research study have done. They've considered the space where textiles, electronics and social needs meet and have explored roles and opportunities for e-textiles as social connectors. I'm going to briefly take you through some of these prototypes that have been developed. Participants have identified social rituals such as games as being opportunities to connect with others, and so we've created e-textile dominoes and jigsaws like this to playfully engage people in shared activity. All put together, this jigsaw completes a soft zone circuit and the light in the middle lights up. But apart, the pieces are pliable, tactile and a bit odd. This object, being familiar and yet unfamiliar, encourages play, curiosity, sometimes frustration, and humour, which has resulted in, ultimately, conversation, teamwork, and bonding. This prototype imagined an e-textile word game where sonic and conductive letter patches could be placed on different fabric surfaces around a room to audibly spell out words or phrases as a means to encourage conversation, cooperation, sometimes competition, and physical activity. Dundonians will tell you that Dundee is a village and not a city, where interconnections between people are grounded in personal and social identity and community values. This prototype links together textile patches that symbolise the icons of Dundee, such as the jute industry and nursing, and when linked together, they produce a light display to symbolise the spark of connection and the sense of togetherness. This prototype focused on textiles as signifiers of heritage. Audio stories of family members, for example, are represented by specific and meaningful fabrics as tactile tools to connect the user with previous generations. By touching the fabrics, you can listen to different stories. Shared histories and experiences were also described as key in creating a sense of social connectedness. This prototype, called Remember When, is a fabric soundboard. You touch the patches to listen to sounds of your childhood, such as marbles clacking together, skipping rope songs, the intention being to connect people through memories and nostalgia. Aspects from each of these prototypes that I've described have contributed to the development of the first of the project's main outcomes. This is the Dundee Conversation Quilt. It's focused on narrative building. The patchwork incorporates the sights, sounds, and songs from Dundee to promote storytelling, reminiscence, and relationship building. So we can see Urwilly here, Duke Jam and journalism. And the quilt has been on a wee tour around Dundee, and it's been proven to generate not only conversation and storytelling, but has encouraged physical contact, camaraderie as well in care homes. And listening to the characters like Urwilly or songs like Muggy fell down the Mull Dam has had residents in stitches, laughing, singing, and telling stories. And these experiences can be particularly powerful and important in fostering a sense of belonging for residents who are in the midst of life-changing transitions. The second project outcome are these soft sound spheres, where the quilt focuses on narrative, these focus on interaction and bringing people together in a physical, social way. Different textiles and music genres have been combined within these objects to create tactile and sensory experiences that encourage social and physical interaction and relationship building. Their materials, its properties and behaviours are designed to encourage different tactile experiences. For example, our fluffy friend on the top right there can be stroked like a pet to produce soothing sounds and symbolise friendship and companionship. Whereas bottom left, the springy loops here invite you to pinch them, and in doing so, produce upbeat popular songs that would have been heard in the local dance halls or places like the Haparanda Cafe in Dundee in the 60s and 70s. These have also been tested out by various local people, and they've been proven to instigate conversation, collaboration, and connectedness as participants work together to discover their surfaces and guess the sounds and songs within. So ultimately, this research has explored e-textiles within the context of social interaction, and I've discovered that it does a number of things. It encourages collaboration, exchange, cooperation, the list goes on. So I found numerous ways and roles within which textiles can support social interaction, and the objects that we've designed within the PhD research are inviting and resonant artefacts, and they've proven themselves as catalysts for social connections. Thank you very much.